So what is edpuzzle? You can see at the top here, I tried to simplify it and call it instructional videos with embedded formative assessment questions. So to use words that we might already know, it's sort of like combining a screencast and like a Google Forms quiz, but in one thing, to blend them together. So as you're watching a video, as a student is watching a video, it'll stop every so often wherever you want it to, and a question will pop up that you have asked them. Multiple choice, it'll grade it for you. It'll even enter it to Google Classroom for you. But you could also do a short answer question, and you can add little notes. And that way it eliminates having to make a separate Google form for a separate screencast video. And I see 3 different ways you could do this. The first way is you could go to any YouTube video that exists anywhere, or Khan Academy or anything, and you could turn that video into an edpuzzle, but then you could cut part of it if you didn't want part of the video to go to the students. So like splice it almost. You could do a voiceover at any point, so your own voice is now periodically showing up throughout someone else's video, so it's a little more personable for your students or your audience. And the biggest one here is add questions, so that becomes the assessment portion of it. You can add questions whenever you want. If there's a particular place in the video that you want questions, you just add one there and it'll pop up for the student. And notes are just a type of a question. It's not necessarily asking for an answer, but it's like a heads up or an additional note. You could do the same thing by using an edpuzzle video that's already been created by another teacher. It's sort of like a public domain library that's out there. Similar to Kahoot, if you've ever used a Kahoot. A lot of times you just borrow one that's already out there. But you can tweak those as well. So you could take a edpuzzle that already has content and questions in it, but you could cut that. You could make your own voice on top of that. You could add questions that didn't exist. You could change questions that are already there, or just flat out delete questions that you didn't want in your version. And then you could just save it, kind of save as your new copy. The other way, which I started to do first, was make your own screencast. So now it's completely your own screencast, your own voice. And that kind of eliminates having to cut or voice over, because you've already edited it to the way you want it. It's your voice, your video, and you wouldn't want to voice over your own video that you made. Although you could, I just don't think you would need to. If you're going to make your own screencast, you'd have to upload it to YouTube, to a YouTube channel of yours, or download it to a device. So if you'd use Screencastify or Screencast-O-Matic, you'd have to download it like as an MP4 file. If you just used your iPad to make a video, it's already a file because it's saved in your camera roll. Then you could upload it to edpuzzle from there. And there you would add your own questions and add your own notes. And the coolest part of this, or another cool part, is when you log into edpuzzle, which I'll show you in a minute, and start an account, if you have Google Classroom set up, you can automatically link Google Classrooms to your edpuzzle. So then you just click the classes that you want to assign that edpuzzle to. And I realized that once you share that on Google Classroom and the students watch the video, first of all, it'll tell you if they watched it, how long they spent watching it, and what their score is. It'll also put their Google Classroom score right in for you. So if you look at Google Classroom, you'll see the score, and it'll scale it to whatever you wanted. If it was out of 20, it'll reduce the fraction to whatever score you wanted it to be in Google Classroom. So that's a really neat feature too. So I'm thinking you might want to pause the video or screenshot this right here, just so you have like kind of an overview of how it might work, whether you want, method 1, method 2, or method 3. And maybe you'll find that, like I said, I've been using only this, but I'm thinking there's some really good ones out there already, but I want my voice on it and I want my questions on it, but I could take an already made video and probably spend less time fixing it or editing it, personalizing it, customizing it than I would if I made my own screencast. So if you need to get started from scratch, let's go to edpuzzle.com